Okay, we're back with Shawn. He was just interrupted by his social worker. Why don't you just tell our listeners what happened?
Well, fortunately, she lives in Livermore, where we're at here, and she surprised me and just came through the door in the middle of this interview and gave me a BART card, a couple bus tickets, because it's going to take 2 different buses, I guess, and directions to go to Sunrise Village, which is a shelter.
Where is it?
It is in, let me see, I barely got a chance to even notice that. Fremont, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's nice. Fremont, that beats Oakland. But,
Good.
it's a 90-day, for sure, spot that doesn't come up very often, she said.
Yeah, good for you. Okay. So, do you think you'll ever work again, Shawn?
Well, I don't know. If I keep having the chronic pain that I've had for several years now, it's just been getting worse and worse. There's no way I can work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this question is, it can be about work, or it doesn't have to be about work, whatever you want to answer. What are you good at?
I'm good at sports.
Yeah, did you play?
I played soccer 17 and a half years, traveled around the world.
Oh, cool.
Took second in California, I lost in the State Cup, 1-0. My team anyway.
Wow. And so, what kind of team was it?
Alcafodio traveling team.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Any other sport did you play?
Oh yeah, lots of sports.
Yeah.
I was a fisherman, a hunter.
Yeah.
I played baseball 2 years, swam 6 years, diving team 2 years, soccer 17 years, wrestling 4 years, track 2 years.
Wow. I'm envious.
A little tennis on the side. I used to, but I can't anymore. My hip's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like to be good at, Shawn?
What would I like to be good at? Well, I went to optometry school, and I went to Bay Area Optical School in 2003, and I got a B+ in it, and that wasn't good enough without the ABO itself, the state test, to get a decent job around here. So I went back to moving furniture, which hurt my back even more. So that's why I'm injured.
So,
I wish I was better at doing what I went to school for.
yeah. So why couldn't you take the test?
I needed the money to live at the time, and I should have taken the test. I should have taken the test, but I was living on $1,000 a month, and the house payment at the time was almost $1,000 a month, and I was going to be kicked out of the house by taking the ABO test. But then I had a girlfriend and 2 kids at the time, so I chose to go back to moving instead of taking the ABO, and thought I'd be able to get a job. You know, and I did get a job over at Walmart Vision Center in Pleasanton, but it only paid me $10.60 an hour, and I couldn't make a living with $10.60 an hour, so I went back to moving furniture.
How much does a test cost to take?
It was like $150 at the time. I didn't have it.
So, could you tell us how you ended up homeless?
How I ended up homeless? Well, I had a girlfriend from AA for 7 years, and it didn't work out, and we lost the house, and she was beating up on me. She went to jail for beating me, and she went to jail for doing drugs in front of her kids, and her kids went to foster care, and we lost the house, and I ended up in my truck and broke up with her, and I lost my truck driving on suspended. They took my truck, left me on Airway Boulevard. So.
How old were the kids?
12 and 16. Has bicycling helped me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It sure has. Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of trades growing up. I had good grades. You know, I come from a family of alcoholics, and a divorce at 14 years old, and had to go through a lot of counseling and stuff. So I had to live on my own at 16 years old, and I've been on my own since I was 16.
How did you live on your own at 16? How did you support yourself?
Well, I had to go from Foothill High School to Valley High School my last two semesters because I had cut so many times just to go to work. I worked 2 restaurant jobs to afford a room in a townhouse over on El Costa, and with 2 work partners, a guy and a girl. So I was 16 and they were older, and I rented a room from them. So I went to a continuation high school my last 2 semesters just so I could graduate school and have a place to live.
See, I was going to ask, do you have any plans for getting your own place? And so with SSDI, you should be able to do that.
I do plan on it, and I can't live in Pleasanton. It's just too much money anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not going to live under the bridge. I'm getting tired of it. It's really getting tiring. But I was thinking maybe a little more, possibly.
Yeah. How much do you think you'll get from SSDI?
Back pay for probably the past 3 years. Plus, they've been underpaying me since May. They've only been paying me $145 a month and $200 in food stamps. So I've been surviving. My storage alone is $68, and my phone bill is $57. You know, it leaves me very little money in between. So that's why I have to dumpster dive for a living most of the month.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to get back paid for at least since April. My attorney says he's appealed the matter, and he heard back from him last week, and maybe this week we might see a little bit of money, but I still haven't seen anything.
So if they say yes, how much more will you get? Do you know?
I'm thinking maybe 20 grand.
A year.
Yeah. 20, 25 grand. Something like that, but I'll owe about 7 of that towards the food stamps and stuff that I've borrowed. About 7,000 I'm estimating.
Any good things happened to you since you've been homeless?
Well, I've gotten closer to AA and met new people, and you know, recognized my years of drinking problems and being a child of other alcoholics, and realized more about my disease because I've been right next to AA under the bridge, and I've survived right there. And if it wasn't for the folks over at AA, I wouldn't have probably survived, you know, because I would have drank myself to death under the bridge.
How long have you been going to AA?
Well, I went to Alateen at age 13. Children of an alcoholic over on Spring Street in Pleasanton, and then I moved on over to Tri-Valley, and I've been there ever since. I'm 45 and December 22nd coming.
Wow. Any bad things happened to you since you've been homeless?
Yep. Well, I had a black eye about 2 months ago from a guy in the creek jumping me. He hit me in this eye, and it just started to come back to normal. And some big biker, I was at a Halloween party, and a big biker hit me again in the same eye, and broke my skull in 2 places, one right here and right here, my cheekbone. And I took an ambulance to the hospital, and I had to go to my mom's funeral the next morning with a black eye.
Jeez. So is that all healed?
Not exactly. It's getting there. It's getting a little better. It's still a little bit black there. It's I'm still numb right here, from right here over. I'm numb, and I'm taking an antibiotic to try to clear this up a little bit here, because it's pretty messed up. This guy hit me as hard as I've ever been hit.
Did you pass out?
Oh, I crawled out of there and ran for my life and called 911. Ambulance came. and took me to Valley Memorial or Valley Care.